Why is it that there's a gun shop on almost every corner in this community?
Why?
Tell you why. For the same reason that there's a liquor store on almost every corner in the black community. Why? They want us to kill ourselves. You go out to Beverly Hills, you don't see that. If you want to talk about
Thank you so much for joining. This is insane. Thank you. I appreciate everybody who have actually been subscribing, that have been engaging with the platform. You just don't know how much that means to me, to know that there's people out there that respect my thoughts, my mind, my opinions, and that really makes me feel good. So thank you so much for, just respecting my thoughts, like I said, and these are my opinions, as I put the disclaimer up to let you guys know that. I actually also would like, before I even continue, before I get started, to give credit to some of the amazing people who clips that we will be watching, because they took a lot of time to actually edit and put together and do some research. And it's important that I make sure that they get their credit. And if you aren't subscribed to their channel, please check their channels out. Viral Crimes, True Crimes, Petty Blog, Blackgirl Unlost, Leah, Gordone. These are people that I actually really follow and have been following for a while. And I love what they're doing, because their platforms are large and they are definitely getting the word out. They have had people that have been in the comments that is close to a lot of the victims, and have just pretty much given more information as to how we as a community can help those families. So I just appreciate what they're doing. So this is insane. It's more of a platform where we discuss different topics, different things that's going on in our country, our community, the world. I will be discussing politics, health, a lot of different topics. But the one that we are discussing at this moment, which we are almost done with, is Protect Black Women and Unspoken Epidemic. And one of the reasons that we are discussing this is because it has been a rise in, domestic situations. And I'm trying to make sure I use my words kindly on this platform, because I want you guys to be able to see my channel. So yeah, I don't want to learn the hard way. Okay. But so a lot of situations have been happening with domestic relationships that became tumultuous, or just Black women just not being respected by family, friends, people that they've been closest to, husbands. And it's just been really, really bad. And looking at the percentage rate, and the last episode will be next week, and we will be discussing that again, because we discussed discussed it on the first episode, and I show like the rates as far as like well, statistics, sorry, the statistics of you know women that in the certain demographics as to where a lot of situations is happening the most, and um it's just really really bad. So I'm shedding light on this topic for now, and I hope that you just continue to ride with me on this. And thank you so much for everyone that's here. So let's get this thing started, shall we? The first one that we'll be discussing is Katora Fizel. And Katora, unfortunately, and I don't want to, I hate to say like, you know, side chicken, different things like that. So I'm just going to say that she was in a relationship with someone who already had pretty much a family. And, you know, I guess he pretty much told her don't come to his house, but she decided to do so anyway. So we'll be checking that clip out, and then we'll discuss it after you guys check the clip out, okay? All right.
Up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me, and what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing...
Katora Fizel, age 28, a model and an entrepreneur, was gunned down right in the driveway by her boyfriend, Marvin Simmons, 31, while she was trying to return some items to him after a Miami weekend trip. This tragedy happened because she was at the house at the same time when his main girlfriend was present in the house. This case happened in the beautiful city of Las Vegas, Nevada, a city that is traditionally known for its many casinos, luxury hotels, and amazing nightlife. It used to be the gambling capital of the world until it was overtaken by Macau. As much as there are approximately 120,000 weddings a year, equating to an average of 300 weddings per day, there are many over 20,000 cases of domestic violence in Las Vegas in a year too. Katora Denise Fizel, age 28, was a young pretty lady who lived in Henderson, Nevada. She was a model, business owner who worked hard to create a business known as the Katora Echelon. She was said to be elegant, lively and sweet.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me, and what was left over.
She loves to play around and live her life. She enjoys life. She can be seen here skating and doing other things for herself.
I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability.
Hey, it's her birthday, real birthday, real birthday. Hey.
Somewhere along the line, she met someone named Marvin Simmons, age 30, and they started dating. They went all the way to party in Miami some days prior to this sad incident. It was a nice time for them and they had fun before they came back to Las Vegas, Nevada. On March 7, 2022, few days after they got back from the weekend trip, she went to his home, accompanied by her two sisters, to drop off a new pair of shoes for him. While she was outside the home, she received a text from Simmons telling her to leave because his girlfriend was at the home at that time. The garage door opened and Katora approached it as Marvin confronted her, and the two began arguing, which resulted in Marvin pushing Katora. The garage door began to close and Katora started walking back to her car where her sisters were sitting. The sisters told police the door then reopened and they could see Marvin holding a gun, and he began firing. Police were called to the 10600 block of Jamestown Square Avenue, near Schaumburg and Farm Roads. Gunshots were reported in the area, and when police arrived, they found a female victim suffering a gunshot injury near a vehicle. The woman was taken to University Medical Center where she later died. The Clark County Coroner's Office identified the victim as 28-year-old Keturah Denise Feazell from Henderson.
8 News Now breaking news alert.
And we begin with this. Metro Police say a woman is dead after a domestic dispute in the Northwest Valley. Detectives believe she went to the father of her child's home near Schomber and Durrell and was shot as she tried to leave. The man involved is now in custody. Police say the child, though, is safe.
LVMPD Lieutenant Jason Johansson said a male suspect, later identified as 30-year-old Marvin Simmons, fled into a nearby residence and was later taken into custody without incident. Johansson said Simmons and the woman were previously together and had a child in common. When asked, Marvin told the police a different version. According to the report, he said Keturah attempted to stop him from closing the garage door and became aggressive, and he was scared for his family's safety when he saw other people in her car. However, later he said that he did not observe Keturah to have any weapons and that she was small in stature, and he did not perceive her as a threat to him. He said he then fired 7 rounds toward the car as Keturah was walking away. According to the report, Keturah was shot once in the chest while in her car and was pronounced dead after arriving at University Medical Center. Simmons told police he had met Keturah 8 months earlier and the two had a sexual relationship, but he was also in a relationship with the mother of his 2 children, who were in the home at the time of the shooting. This is most likely why he shot her in the opinion of the investigators. Simmons is facing charges of open murder and shooting a gun into an occupied vehicle. We hope proper justice is carried out in this case and wish the best for Keturah's child and her family. Please let's all be safe out there. Take care and see you all in the next video to come.
Hey, it's her birthday, real birthday, real birthday. Hey.
Okay, I don't understand. Okay, let me just go in order with this because, okay. First off, they said that she had a child by him, but they were in an 8-month relationship. So that was confusing to me because I mean, they also stated that he had pretty much a family because he was with another woman who pretty much have a child by him. So I was just confused with that. So I don't really know that full story when it comes to that. However, it was really sad to hear that she went on a trip, thought about him, was bringing him some shoes over, bought him something from her pockets, or maybe, I don't know, but she was bringing him a gift. And he decided to unalive her. And then the 7 rounds, though, like 7 rounds, man, that to me sounds extremely hateful, especially knowing that she's not a threat to you, knowing that she's small in stature. He pretty much already said that he knew she wasn't a threat. Like, he couldn't have just had a conversation. Like, to me, these type of men do not take accountability for their actions and the things that they do and how they affect the lives of other people that's included in this turmoil or this tangled web, and it's sad. But my condolences to the family, and I'm just here to share some light on these clips, and for you guys to see what is happening with Black women, and we need to find out the disconnect, like what is happening to the point where it's okay to just unalive a woman instead of just having conversations and owning up to your part of the responsibility instead of being afraid to get caught by somebody else. Was he afraid that he was going to get unalived by the woman that was in the house? Like what? You know? Okay. The next one is a young lady by the name of Badass Pink. And I do believe that they may say her full name or maybe not on this clip, but we're going to go by what she wanted to be called, and her name is Badass Pink. So Badass Pink seemed like a woman who was growing on a different level, and I believe she outgrew the man that she was with, and there was some issues because of it. So let's check that out.
As Pink Badass, or vice versa, Badass Pink, wrote the following status on Facebook on June 23rd, 4:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it reads, "I've been sleeping with my op for the past 6 months. Never have I ever had a man be jealous of my accomplishments. I'ma be single for a while, build my own empire. Broken heart emoji." And for those who may not know what an op is, it's basically an opposition, an opponent. So she was basically saying that she was sleeping with her enemy. And unfortunately, within 48 hours, she was gone. And everyone now believes that the man that she was talking about in that post is responsible for it. However, even though it's been over a week, no arrests were made. Pink was a mother, so her children as well as her whole family definitely deserve closure. So hopefully justice is served soon, and the person that she refers to as her op should be the main suspect that the police should be looking at. Now let's rewind a little bit and take a look at some of what she had to say leading up to it. On June 9, she wrote, "I'm not a clingy person, and I don't like my person to be too clingy in my relationship. I appreciate space. Anyone agree, or is it just me?" On June 11, she reposted, "Giving your partner alone time and space would solve so many issues. Y'all are just so obsessed with this culture of being up under somebody 24/7. Suffocation makes things expire at a faster rate. Relax and just be yourself. It's okay to maintain your individuality." June 13, she wrote, "Changing your life is not for the weak-hearted. It's times where I just want to run away from everybody. Times where I want to relapse. Times where I doubt myself. But at the end of each challenge, I always come out successful. It all starts when you truly start loving yourself." On June 16, she wrote, "This shit is crazy." And when someone commented, "You okay, friend?" she wrote no, but she never elaborated on what happened. She posted, "The disrespect is all the closure you need." On June 20, she wrote, "I'm so ready to get back to Atlanta. Might as well be my second home." A couple of hours later, she wrote, "Trust me when I say I love all the people that are actually close to me, but when I say I haven't been myself these past couple of months, please believe me. I still love y'all to the core, but I gotta shake my demons on my own. It'll get greater later. Or maybe I'll just team up with my demons and cause hell. Either way, just don't think I'm gone." On June 21st, she wrote, "If anyone wants to help fund my upcoming Atlanta trip, please inbox me." The next day, she wrote, "That shit is over. Back to me, back to my peace of mind." And the next hour, she reposted a post that says, "If you big single, say yo." And she said, "Hey, yo," crying, laughing, crying, laughing, crying, laughing. And then on June 23rd, she made a post that we read earlier that says, "I've been sleeping with my op for the past 6 months. Never have I ever had a man be jealous of my accomplishments. I'ma be single for a while, build my own empire." And under it, when someone said, "It be like that, trust me, I know," she wrote, "I'm just happy it's over." And then 2 days later, her life was taken from her. We do want to point out though that a few hours before she was found, she did write her last Facebook post that says, "I want to go to a Mexican club so bad tonight." But based on that quick timeline, the op in question was super clingy. She wanted her space and was trying to escape Texas and go back to ATL, meaning that she was trying to escape him too. And on June 22nd, she officially broke up with him. But her trying to go to a club as a beautiful, newly single woman could cause a jealous op to go to any length to stop her. Keep in mind though that her aunt said that he seemed cool when she saw him on FaceTime. She was basically FaceTiming her niece and he happened to be there and he was playing it cool. That's crazy. Now, Pink was initially being reported as a missing person. As you can see here, her peoples wrote, "The police found her car yesterday with bloodstains on the inside and outside of the car and even a bloody handprint, and they now have the car under investigation. If anyone has seen her or heard anything, please contact the police. She was last seen in the Oak Cliff area wearing an orange sundress. She is now a missing person." God sent her home, and here is the actual article on it. On Sunday, June 25, Dallas police officers responded to a shooting call on the 3100 block of Seton Drive around 8 a.m. Once officers arrived, they found a woman unresponsive from a gunshot wound on the ground. Emergency crews arrived and pronounced the woman dead at the scene. As of now, police have no suspects and are working to determine the circumstances that led up to the shooting. The shooting investigation remains ongoing. That's sad. And one of her family members wrote the following: "Justice needs to be served. Someone hurt this baby and took her from us all. Her debit card was used Sunday evening and they found her Sunday morning. There are cameras at all ATMs. Let's flood all social media so these people will investigate and find the monster who did this to her. Justice for you, baby girl." Yes, let's flood all social media with this story for sure to help bring her justice. Her ex-boyfriend's name is not clear as she never tagged him or anything like that, and nobody seems to know him exactly, which is probably why he has not been arrested or at least brought in for questioning, and she'd only been with him for about 6 months, so that's probably why it's not clear who he is. But hopefully the police investigate to see who used her card after she passed. That person is most likely the culprit. And all ATMs do have cameras, right? So it really shouldn't be this hard to find them. Rest in peace, Pink Badass.
Okay, I want to say this. You know, it's really crazy because the last clip that we watched and this clip, the two things the women have in common is that they both pretty much were in a very short-term relationship. One was 8 months and Pink Badass relationship was 6 months. So this is one of them situations where they pretty much was with someone that they didn't know all the way, but they were all the way in with them. And that's one of the things about us women. When you got us, you got us. That's why now we have to be so cautious in how we vet men, how we date, how we interact, how we build with them. It like it's going to take longer to vet and to really build with someone than it used to, because of the fact that social media has a play now. Technology has a strong play in relationships. And unfortunately, there was some mental health issues in both of these men. And many of these men that is like unaliving these women, they definitely haven't been touched by an angel. You know what I'm saying? And I'm very sorry to hear about her loss. And some of the key points is when they were discussing about, like, well, on her post, and she was just, the way that she was describing her situation was more like a man who was trying to control her and very domineering, and she is not that type of woman or person. And because of the fact that she was with him for 6 months, she probably started seeing red flags. That was like, because for 90 days, they can show you who you want them to be. So then after that, you really start seeing a couple of things, and when she said that she was sleeping with the op and that he was jealous, I personally feel like, these are my opinions, that majority of these situations is because men are jealous of the woman. Like, it's about control, it's about insecurity, and it's about jealousy. Because a lot of these women that's becoming unalived, I will say, from me researching, and these are not like actual percentages, these are my percentages of what I see. I see at least 80% of uh the women being very successful and the men being very insecure, and instead of them growing with the woman has outgrew them and they are jealous because if it's one of those, if I can't have you, nobody can. And that just seems like what has happened, you know. So then they used her debit card, and still, to I guess, they don't know for sure if he did it. They don't even know who he is, so evidently she was keeping him a secret or keeping it quiet. And what we can learn from this story, and as women, is to at least confide in somebody and let them know who we are with. Because if we really got to keep somebody a secret, we already know that it's not right. They're not right for us. All right, we'll go to the next clip, and the next clip is a young lady by the name of Brianna McCoy, who was a bottle girl. She was a bottle girl, but she was also so much more than that. She was pretty much a daughter to a successful reggae artist from Jamaica. And she also had a child. She was a mother. And she just, seemed like a beautiful lady that was, trying to do something with her life. But something happened. And unfortunately, it took her life at a very young age. She was extremely young. And the guy that she was with, that was a huge age gap. So we'll check out her situation right now.
A sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign.
This is the story of Brianna McCoy, age 23, the daughter of veteran music selector Ricky Trooper, who was fatally shot by her boyfriend and the father of her child, Derek Francis, age 41. Derek, who had been in a relationship with Brianna, lost his mind, got upset during a domestic dispute and then shot her dead before fleeing the scene. A national manhunt had to be conducted by the Bridgeport and other different agencies in order to apprehend Derek Francis. Hello and welcome to Twisted Crimes. Subscribe and hit the like button for more stories.
A mother's plea for justice tonight, 1 week after her daughter was shot to death in what police are calling a tragic case of domestic violence.
This story will be taking us to the city of Bridgeport, Connecticut. Bridgeport is the most populous city in the U.S. state of Connecticut. Bridgeport is renowned for its public park system, which has led to its official nickname as the Park City. Bridgeport offers a wealth of attractions, majestic shoreline parks, fascinating museums, regional baseball, hockey, festivals, and national musical acts. Brianna Destiny McCoy was born on September 22, 1999. Her father was the veteran music selector Ricky Trooper. Born in St. Mary, Jamaica, Ricky Trooper is a veteran reggae and dancehall sound selector. Brianna was the love of his life. They were very close to each other. Her father would never miss any of her birthday even though he lived in Jamaica. He called her the apple of his eye. Brianna was a native of Jamaica but lived most of her life in the United States. She resided in Bridgeport, Connecticut before this sad incident. Brianna was said to be a very lovely, sweet, and kind person. She had a very great personality which made a lot of people like her.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody...
Brittany Harris said although her cousin worked as a bottle server, she had a reserved personality. She's very genuine, she's kind, she's loving, her laugh, every single time, it keeps playing back in my head, she said.
In the world blind. Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Brianna would end up dating a man named Derek Francis, age 41. It was like any other relationship that had its ups and downs. Brianna ended up getting pregnant and they were looking forward to having the baby. She ended up having the baby really early and they didn't think the child would make it, but he pulled through at the end, making their bond very special. She took care of her son, loved him so much, did all she could for him at any point in time. Her child was the love of her life.
Hi. Hi.
Back to her relationship, things were not that great with the father of her child Derek, but instead of trying to fix things, he acted very immature, even though he was really older than her. At a point she got tired and tried to move on without him. Tragedy struck the north end of Bridgeport on the morning of Thursday, April 6, 2023, when citizens of a local condominium complex reported hearing gunshots. During a domestic dispute at her Coachlight Square condominiums at 333 Vincelette Street, Derek lost it and decided to solve the minor issue by shooting dead Brianna in the presence of her infant child before he fled the scene of the crime. Patrol officers arrived on scene and located the unresponsive female who appeared to have been shot to death. Medical personnel quickly arrived at this location and pronounced the victim deceased. The victim was identified as 23-year-old Brianna McCoy. She had been fatally shot by Derek. Police tried to locate Derek, but he was long gone. A national manhunt ensued thereafter. The Bridgeport police issued a statement requesting the public's assistance in locating Derek Francis, the alleged perpetrator of Brianna's murder.
We are learning new details this afternoon about the murder of a 23-year-old Bridgeport woman yesterday. The police chief now says that this was a domestic violence incident. The suspect remains at large. News 12 Connecticut's Lauren Fabrizi has the latest on the investigation.
It's always been seen as the more desirable part of Bridgeport to live in.
Ed Donahue has lived in the north end of Bridgeport for more than 20 years.
All the stores you need are right there.
But yesterday, a much different scene than Donahue is used to. This condo complex on Vincelette Street was filled with detectives. The police chief says a 23-year-old woman was murdered there in a domestic violence incident.
23? 23 is like you're not even started with life. That's the saddest thing you can imagine.
Police were called to the complex around 11:30 in the morning. When officers arrived, they found Brianna McCoy shot to death inside one of the condos. Police say they've obtained an arrest warrant for 41-year-old Derek Francis. He remains at large and is believed to be armed and dangerous. Police say Francis is 5'8" and 170 pounds. He has black hair and brown eyes and is known to frequent the north end of Bridgeport and the Bronx.
It's just heartbreaking that a young life has been lost.
As for yesterday's murder, police are asking anyone with information on Francis's whereabouts to call 911 immediately.
My hope is to grab him up quick, and I will say a prayer for the girl.
The incident left many in shock and saddened by the loss of such a young life. Her father, Ricky Trooper, the popular Jamaican entertainment figure, expressed his grief on Instagram.
All the people want to show me love and, send condolences to me and the family through that trying time. And that's why the people know say, yo, bonafide, respect all I want and thanks to the love, but it hard for answer so much phone calls and messages. It's like at the first, my phone.
He was able to attend his daughter's funeral service in Bridgeport, Connecticut, after being granted a compassionate visa almost 13 years after his U.S. visa was revoked in 2010.
All right, I'm there, man.
Come on in. Come in. Go on in.
LaShawn White Bernard. Again, after you render this song, everybody stand except the family. The family desire to stand, you may do so.
The funeral took place at Grace Cathedral of Peace, with the interment following at Lawncroft Cemetery in Fairfield. The focus shifted to Derek after the ceremony. The police considered him armed and dangerous.
A mother's plea for justice tonight, 1 week after her daughter was shot to death in what police are calling a tragic case of domestic violence. News 12's Frank Recchia has the story.
She had a kind heart. She always liked to help people.
The mother of 23-year-old Brianna McCoy breaking down today.
I just feel lost. I don't even know what to do.
While looking back on the life of her daughter, sharing photos that chronicle a short life, but one she says was filled with promise. Brianna giving birth 16 months ago to a son, Xander Francis, whose grandmother says was at the center of Brianna's world.
He wasn't even expected to live, and she took excellent care of him to the point where he's now, and he was her pride and joy.
It was a week ago that the mom says this man, 41-year-old Derek Francis, who she says was the father of Brianna's baby, fatally shot her daughter and then fled, triggering a nationwide manhunt.
I don't even know if I believe it.
The family urging the public to assist authorities in getting justice for Brianna by helping them track down her alleged killer.
Please help the police with any given information.
The backdrop for the killing, a usually peaceful community, no neighbors say, for being close-knit and quiet.
Unbelievable that this would happen here at the Couchlight Square condos. Everybody's just saddened about this whole situation.
He is known to frequent Bridgeport's North End and the Bronx, New York, making law enforcement spend more of their resources there. The search for him involved multiple law enforcement agencies in addition to Bridgeport Police. On April 18th, almost 2 weeks after the shooting, Bridgeport Police confirmed Derek Francis was taken into police custody after fleeing from a vehicle during a traffic stop in Ohio. According to Bridgeport Police, Solon officers pulled Francis over during a motor vehicle stop, but he jumped out of the vehicle and ran. He was quickly detained after a bit of hide and seek. Officers said they found a loaded handgun inside the vehicle and that Francis is now facing additional firearm charges in Ohio. He is now in the custody of Solon and Cuyahoga County Police in Ohio as a fugitive from justice. He will be extradited back to Connecticut where he will be charged with the murder of Brianna McCoy. Francis is being held on a $3 million bond. At least 40 people lit candles in her honor on Fairfield Avenue in front of a screen, which displayed photos of McCoy within a heart. McCoy's mother, Camille Prince, cried as the crowd shouted, "I love you, Bree," and released dozens of pink and blue balloons into the night sky.
Okay, I'm going to end it there because of the fact that I want to talk about this, and it ended on the baby, so sad, so sad. But I'm very glad that the community, wrapped their arms around the family and, really focused on trying to help with getting justice for her. And I'm so glad that justice actually happened. I'm glad that they caught him. And as they said, they had manpower looking for him, and also because she comes from a prominent family as well. So, they made sure that they didn't want that light shined on them for not putting effort into trying to find the suspect in this awful situation that happened. He left this child without a mom. He was the father. That is such an act of selfishness. Narcissistic men, these men are so narcissistic these days. It's beyond narcissistic. It is mental. I don't know if it's something in what they smoking, drinking, taking, but it is an epidemic of men that is cray-cray out here. And that is serious. And they had such a huge age gap in their relationship. And I feel like she just probably wasn't the type to be controlled. And that is one of the biggest things is when men cannot, like these cray-crays can't control you and you're a beautiful person, they not going to let nobody else, like we're just seeing it. Like they would rather unalive you and let their child become an orphan before they let you go and just let you live with your life, live on with your life. And that's crazy. That whole homegoing situation, like it was so bittersweet. And I won't lie, I shedded had my little eyes watering, but it doesn't take much for me. I'm such a softie. But the homecoming of the father, being able to, you know, unfortunately under the circumstances, but being able to be reunited with his family. And it's been 13 years since he's been able to like step foot on American soil. That's crazy. And then, the homegoing of the daughter. So I know that for the family, that was like a sad and bittersweet moment for them, you know. And something stood out to me was when the mom was saying about the baby was a preemie. They didn't even think that they were going to be able to have the baby. Like they didn't know if the baby was going to be able to live. And the mother made sure, Brianna made sure that she took care of her child so that her child could live. And she was able to be on this earth with him for 16 beautiful months. And it's extremely sad. But before I start getting sappy again, we're going to go to this news clip. And this news clip is actually about a 14-year-old girl who was found at Camp Pendleton. It was a sex traveling situation. I'm trying to use my words cautiously. And it was a Marine who I guess paid for her. This situation is extremely sad, and it just goes to show you that they are, like, this is somebody that is supposed to be protecting our country that's out here doing foul stuff, but the ending though is going to be the kicker. So just check this. This is a small clip. Check it out and make sure that you pay attention to the ending.
Story out of Camp Pendleton, where a missing 14-year-old girl has finally been found and a Marine has been taken into custody in connection with her disappearance.
That girl's family now alleging she was trafficked and sold to a Marine for sex. Our Leanne Suter joining us live in studio with the latest details. Leanne?
Michelle and Jory, shocking details and allegations coming from the victim's family, who says that teen was sold for sex. Camp Pendleton authorities now investigating.
Authorities confirming this picture posted on social media showing the moment the Marine was arrested as authorities investigate a possible human trafficking case at Camp Pendleton after a missing 14-year-old girl was found on base.
Just trying to give an update. My family and I are doing okay. Would just like to start off by thanking everyone for boosting this video. I appreciate everyone trying to bring awareness to this incident.
The teen's aunt taking to social media to talk about the case and concerns about possible retaliation from the military. The woman says her niece has learning disabilities and was allegedly sold for sex. The 14-year-old's grandmother reported her missing on June 13th to the San Diego Sheriff's Department. She told investigators the young girl, who had run away before but always returned home quickly, went missing the week before.
I would also like to please ask for respect for my family.
On June 28th, the teen was located inside the barracks at Camp Pendleton. Since the base is federal property, Naval Criminal Investigative Services is handling the investigation with the assistance of the Sheriff's Department and San Diego Human Trafficking Task Force. The victim's family vowing to continue their fight for answers.
I will not rest until the whole world knows, and those responsible are held accountable and justice is served.
Camp Pendleton officials say as of Thursday, the Marine had not been charged and remains in custody of his command.
Okay. Did you hear that? He has not been charged. He has not been charged. Do you see how they treat us black and brown women? Man. Okay. So this actually just happened. Wanted to shed some light on this. Haven't done as much research yet on it because this is a new situation that recently happened. So please check it out. Take some time to research and see what's going on with it if you need to. But I felt it was only right to show this because of the fact that this is supposed to be someone, like I said, who is protecting our country. And also he's getting protected. It's not national news, I don't believe. Like you haven't heard about it on The View or anything. And I just want to see who's going to pick this up. Is it going to be like a story that's going to be more hidden and discreet and local? Or will they actually shed light on this situation? Because I know for a fact he got caught, but this is a situation that I think is ongoing. This might even be a ring. We never know. So I'm going to do some more research on this. Just wanted to shed this light. Okay, the next story that we have is Danita Smith. She was in a relationship and her boyfriend pretty much cheated on her with another woman, and the woman was crazy. So you already know where this is going. So check this out.
Of Danita Smith, a 25-year-old with a bright future ahead of her, who was on the cusp of achieving her dreams, a fellowship at the prestigious New York Times, a recent engagement to her partner of 6 years, and a life filled with success. But fate had other plans. In 2007, just days after their engagement, Danita's life took a tragic turn. She was ruthlessly shot, execution style, in a manner that would leave detectives perplexed and the community in shock. But who would want Danita dead, a woman who by all accounts was kind to everyone and had no enemies? Welcome to Viral Crimes. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more stories. This story takes us to Durham, North Carolina. Danita had completed 6 years of her undergraduate education and was now pursuing a master's degree at North Carolina Central University. She envisioned a bright future for herself and was driven by ambition. She had obtained a fellowship with the New York Times due to her outstanding work in the fields of journalism and photography. Her private life seemed to be wonderful as well. Her boyfriend Jamir Stroud had asked her to marry him recently, and she had accepted his proposal. They began dating after meeting in college and did so for a total of 6 years. Danita remained in Durham after graduation to continue her education, while Jamir relocated to Greensboro to begin his career as a police officer. Despite the fact that Jamir was absent, the couple continued to be romantically involved. At 10 o'clock in the morning on the 4th of January, Corey Smith, a resident of Campus Crossings, exited his apartment in order to make his way to work. He saw a lot of personal items strewn down the staircase, and at the bottom of the stairs, he noticed a female. Because she was laying in such a manner, he thought that she must have fallen down the steps, or he saw that the lady was not breathing, so he dialed 911 and after looking at the woman's belongings, provided the woman's name to police. She was identified as Danita Smith. Sadly, when police arrived, they pronounced Danita dead. She had been shot in the head. Police received another call around the same time. Michael Hedgepeth, who works as the maintenance director at the Campus Crossings Apartments in Durham, reported hearing a gunshot around 8:10 in the morning. He saw a lady frantically making her way from the 1100 building at the complex's rear to its entrance. He went up to her to inquire about her well-being. She was sobbing uncontrollably. He inquired as to whether or not she had heard the gunfire, and she confirmed that she had. She confessed to him that she had a fear of firearms. Michael called 911, but when officers arrived at the location, they decided not to document the complaint since they were unable to determine where the shot had originated, and the lady Michael had been speaking to was already gone. He gave a description of the lady as a tall black woman, around 5 feet 10 inches in height, with a ponytail. He also said that she was driving a burgundy SUV.
Investigators are working through the weekend on the case of a North Carolina Central student. A graduate student engaged to be married was shot and killed at her apartment complex. Aaron Coleman tells us friends are preparing tributes to Danita Smith.
The last article she wrote for the campus paper is still on the stands. Now its author is being remembered.
You see someone one day and the next day they're gone, it's awful.
Dr. Bruce DePeisler knew Danita Smith well. He was her advisor at the Echo. Smith was a graduate student at NC Central. Her body was found Thursday morning at the bottom of a stairwell at her off-campus apartment.
People want to know, they want the details, and it's gone from bad to worse.
What witnesses first thought was an accident quickly turned to a murder investigation. Police say the 25-year-old was shot to death but aren't releasing many other details. Investigators want to talk to a woman seen driving away from the apartment complex that morning around 8:30, an hour and a half before a maintenance worker found Danita Smith's body.
We're all shocked. When we first found out, we were devastated.
Shelby Brown was a fellow writer at the paper.
Why? I think that's a big question right now is why.
Durham police say they're working on answering all the questions about what happened that day. In the meantime, friends choose to remember the good. Dozens are posting messages to a Facebook page dedicated to Danita Smith's memory, and the newspaper where she worked for so long will honor her in its next issue.
You have to learn from it. What's the lesson? The lesson is when you see a human being, be kind to him because you might never see him again.
Not only was she loved by her family, but she had another family, the Eagle family, the Campus Echo family that loved her as well.
Law enforcement broke the news to Jamir, who then spent the day with both his own family and Danita's family. Police inquired as to Jamir's whereabouts that morning. He said that since he had worked the night before, he was sound asleep in bed. He informed police that he knew a lady who drove a burgundy SUV when he learned that they were searching for a female who was driving one. He reported the woman to be Shannon Crawley, a single mother of two. Danita had never even met Shannon and had no idea who she was. Shannon was nonetheless aware of who Danita and Jamir were. In Greensboro, where Shannon resided, she was employed as a 911 dispatcher, and it was in the course of her employment that she was introduced to Jamir. Shannon didn't know that Jamir was dating Danita when they first met, so they started an affair. Jamir confirmed having an affair to the police, but he told them that it was over around a year before Danita was murdered. When the police questioned Jamir about a possible motive for Shannon's desire for Danita's death, he said that Shannon would not leave him alone after they broke up. She moved into a home in his community and joined the same church as him. Shannon was questioned by the police. She said that she had never met Danita and that the only time she had seen her was at church 2 weeks before Danita's death. She said that she may have only seen Danita's photo once or twice previously. Shannon said to the police that she did not possess a firearm when they questioned her about it. She said that she had to stay home from work on the morning of January 4 because her kid was ill, but she did report to her job later that day. When the police examined Shannon's SUV, they discovered that the steering wheel had gunshot residue on it. An individual who worked with Shannon contacted the authorities. He confessed to the police that he had sold Shannon a firearm. After being taken into custody, Shannon was charged with murder in the first degree.
Begin tonight with breaking news out of Durham.
As we first reported on WRL.com, Durham police made an arrest in the murder of an NCCU graduate student.
Durham police arrested Shannon Crowley in Greensboro late this afternoon. We're told the 27-year-old is charged with the murder of NC Central University graduate student Danita Smith. Now, we just got video a few moments ago of the suspect being led into the police station. You can see Crowley is being escorted in cuffs and shackles into the police station. She kept her head down and made no comment. We're told that they made the arrest after searching her car and her house. We've also learned tonight that Crowley was an employee of the Guilford Metro 911 department, but we're told that she was suspended back on January 6th of this year after being named a person of interest in this case. Now, Smith, the victim, who was wrapping up her thesis and engaged to be married, was found dead on Friday. She was shot to death in the stairwell of her off-campus apartment here in Durham. Tonight, there is no word on the relationship between the suspect and the victim, and investigators will not discuss any motives at this time. However, they do say that it does not appear to be a random act of violence. The university did issue a statement this evening which reads, "What happened to Danita was unconscionable. She was an outstanding and promising young student whose life has been cut short. The arrest of a suspect will help us begin the healing process." Again, an arrest has been made in the Danita Smith murder case.
The prosecution said that Shannon had an unhealthy fixation with Jamir, which led to her stalking Danita out of jealousy. Shannon pled not guilty and went to trial. According to the testimony of State Bureau of Investigation forensic weapons specialist agent Scott Jones, the murder weapon was likely a .38 caliber revolver. Shannon claimed she didn't own a gun, but her coworker, Ronald Simpson, testified that he sold Shannon a .38 caliber Taurus special revolver in October 2006. Bought in a lie, Shannon claimed that she tossed the gun and the ammo in separate trash dumpsters shortly after receiving them, but the police found neither item. It was revealed that Jamir owned 2 firearms, none of which matched the murder weapon. Examination of Shannon's phone records revealed that she made phone calls from the area of Durham near the campus crossing apartments both the day before and the day Danita was shot. The prosecution characterized Shannon as a vengeful person. To prove this, they presented evidence that on June 20, 2008, after Danita had passed away and Shannon was still out on bail, she reported to the police that Jamir had sexually assaulted her. She said that he came to her residence in Charlotte between the hours of 2:30 and 5:30 that morning and sexually assaulted her there. A detective in the assault unit of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department testified that based on the alleged time of the rape and Jamir's cell phone records, he would have had to travel from Charlotte to Greensboro for work at approximately 120 miles per hour without stopping for red lights in order to have committed the rape. An examination of a rape kit yielded negative results for the presence of semen. There were no injuries to Shannon's vaginal canal or injuries that required stitches. Shannon claimed that during the assault, Jamir injured her with a knife. She told detectives that they need to check for the knife in Jamir's garbage can at his residence. Unbeknownst to Shannon, Jamir discovered a knife in his trash can and reported it to the police. Jamir's neighbors would testify that they observed a vehicle drive away from his garbage can, and another testified that she observed someone dump something into his trash can and then drive away. The prosecution presented hidden audio recordings to the jury before resting their case. Shannon claimed that the tapes contained Jamir admitting to the murder. The prosecution argued that the voice on the tape was not Jamir's and wanted the jury to hear the recordings to demonstrate the differences. They also wanted to highlight Shannon's history of deception and vengefulness towards Jamir to frame him for the crime. The defense argued that Shannon was innocent and that Jamir had been stalking her and was the actual murderer. Shannon's defense pleaded for her acquittal, but the prosecution urged the jury to consider the evidence rather than Shannon's testimony. After deliberation, the jury rejected Shannon's account and she was convicted of first-degree murder, receiving a life sentence without parole. Danita's mother expressed her lack of forgiveness and wished for Shannon to rot in hell. Danita's father was thankful for the guilty verdict, believing it was the right decision. Shannon's parents, on the other hand, maintained their belief in her innocence and accused Jamir of committing the crime. The judge acknowledged Shannon's conviction, but also criticized Jamir's actions, stating that he caused a perfect storm and walked away from it, which was unfortunate for everyone involved in the case.
Okay, That's where we're going to end that, because that's exactly what I said earlier on in previous clips about men do not hold themselves accountable and fess up. And what they do is they hurt other people. Everyone else suffers as well. And this is what happened. This is one of the situations where that came to play, because uh I'm so sorry, because Danita's, I was about to call her Deanna. Danita's boyfriend knew exactly what he was doing. He was cheating on her. He was cheating on her. He was being, secretive and manipulative, and had this woman thinking she in a whole relationship where they're happy. And then he was with another woman and probably doing the same. He was probably even living a double life and got caught up. Either or, the woman that pretty much unalived Danita, she totally got what she deserved. But it's unfortunate that she, did this to another woman, and kind of, just like the men, she was cray cray, you know, and it was in just like I said about the men, it's one of them situations where it's, if I can't have you, nobody can. And then it probably even ticked her off to even see how well established and how Danita was such an accomplished woman, because women are not going to say how highly competitive they are when it comes to sizing up another woman. They won't admit that, but it happens all day, every day, and that's the way the world goes. And that's exactly what happened. So she probably felt insecure and less than. And of course, he was not going to leave his girlfriend for her. And she tried to get her out the picture, but when it didn't work the way that she wanted it to work, she tried to blame it on him, and pretty much tried to have him take the fall for it. And what really kills me is that all of this evidence uh that shows that she was the one, and her family is still writing for her. Like, what in the heck? Child, I tell you. I just wanted to bring this to light because we can like, it's so many situations with men involved where they are the aggressors. But I wanted to shed light on this story because of the fact that this woman was cunning. Like, she literally was a very vengeful, cunning woman. And she seemed to not even have remorse at the end of the day for what she did. But, her family's still trying to blame it on the man. And although, I'm with the judge, like, even though he didn't do the crime, he's the reason the crime exists. Because if he would have just been honest, if he would have been real with her, with himself, with Danita, this whole situation would not have had to happen. And men need to stop acting like it is okay for them to have multiple women and play with these hearts, these women's hearts. It's not okay. It's not okay. You need to check your ego. because what's happening is our disconnect is getting even stronger with each other. And, women are starting to just say, forget it. I'll just remain single the rest of my life, or I'll date someone from another nationality, ethnicity, or whatever it may be. And that's exactly what's happening. Thank you for tracking with me. Y'all been, hanging in there with your girl. I got one more clip to show. This one was very sad because it was a woman who she really wasn't, I don't think she was with this man that long. And I think that they were dating. And he kind of unalived her during a date. So let's check this last clip out and we'll talk about it after.
Mom, you good? Are you sure this is the right one? You sure?
He hasn't even called me, not to say one thing. So I'm feeling like he has something to do with it. Ever be forgotten. You will never be forgotten.
This is the story of Cheryl Pringle, aged 40, a beautiful woman who was killed by her abusive boyfriend, Bruce Mabin, age 44, for trying to leave him. She had gone on a date with him not knowing he had very bad things planned for her that night. She went missing, but her family and friends would later find her body themselves after 2 days of frantic search. This all happened out of jealousy, insecurity, false accusations, and wanting to control Cheryl. Hello and welcome to Twisted Crimes. Subscribe and hit the like button for more stories.
Well, the boyfriend of a Woburn woman who was found dead after they went out on a date is now charged with her murder.
This story will be taking us to the city of Woburn. Woburn, Massachusetts is a city located 9 miles north of Boston. Woburn, Massachusetts is an industrial, suburban city with a population of about 40,000 people. It's a small city located in the upper Mystic River Valley, occupying 13.1 miles of the Fells upland. Today the city is known for its industry and is home to several high-tech and pharmaceutical companies. Cheryl Michelle Pringle, aged 40, was a mother of 2 from Woburn, Massachusetts. She received her early education in the public schools of the Chittick Elementary School. She then went on to attend Solomon Leuenberg Middle School and graduated from West Roxbury High School. She went on to further her education in higher ed by attending Roxbury Community College, where she received her associate's degree in business. Cheryl was so driven and went on to obtain her bachelor's degree at UMass, Boston, with a focus in fashion design. Cheryl was described as a very sweet, easygoing and loving person. She was employed for over 10 years at the Steward Medical Group in Watertown, Massachusetts. She was devoted to her children, who are 18 and 20 years old. She also had a boyfriend named Bruce Mabin, who was 44 years old and lived in Lynn, Massachusetts.
Yeah, I gotta go like this. It's a video. It's a video. Yeah, it's a video. Look at the dude!
They had been dating for about a year and a half, but their relationship was not a happy one. Bruce Mabin, the abusive boyfriend. According to Cheryl's family and friends, Bruce was abusive and controlling towards Cheryl. He would constantly call and text her, monitor her whereabouts, and accuse her of cheating on him. He also had a criminal history that included charges of assault and battery, drug possession, and larceny. Cheryl's family tried to convince her to leave him, but she was afraid of what he might do to her or her children. She also hoped that he would change and treat her better.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
On Saturday, December 18, 2021, Cheryl told her son that she was going out with Bruce for the night. She said she would be back the next day, but she never returned home. Her son became worried and tried to contact her, but he couldn't reach her. He also called Bruce,
who claimed that he didn't know where Cherelle was and that they had an argument and parted ways. He said he last saw her at a gas station in Saugus, Massachusetts. Cherelle's son reported her missing to the Woburn police on Sunday, December 19. He also posted on social media asking for help in finding his mother. He said he had a bad feeling that something terrible had happened to her. He also said that Bruce was lying about his story and that he was responsible for Cherelle's disappearance. The police began to investigate Cherelle's case, but they didn't seem to make much progress. They interviewed Bruce as a person of interest, but they didn't arrest him or charge him with anything. They also searched the area where Bruce said he last saw Cherelle, but they didn't find any trace of her. Meanwhile, Cherelle's family and friends decided to take matters into their own hands. They organized their own search party and went to look for Cherelle themselves. They drove around Saugus and nearby towns, following leads and tips from people who claimed to have seen Cherelle or her car. They also printed flyers with Cherelle's picture and information and handed them out to anyone who might have seen her. All this time, Bruce Mabin, who was supposed to help in the search, only posted one time on social media and did not even bother to contact her family. On Tuesday, December 21st, 2 days after Cherelle went missing, her relatives made a horrifying discovery. They found Cherelle's body in a marshy area off Route 107 in Saugus, near the gas station where Bruce said he last saw her. They called the police and reported their finding. The police arrived at the scene and confirmed that it was Cherelle's body. They said she had signs of trauma on her body and that foul play was suspected in her death.
It is a heartbreaking end to what had become a desperate search for 40-year-old Cherelle Pringle. His family was driving down Route 107 in Saugus today. They saw a haunting clue on the side of the road.
Seen a purse on the side of the road, and then they just came back around and basically started walking and just digging through the woods.
The Woburn mother's body was found in a marshy area. She was last in touch with family on Saturday when they say she went out with a man she was dating. Her son says he had reservations about him.
I should have did that. I should have checked with Mom. You good? Are you sure? This is the right one, you sure?
He hasn't even called me, not to say one thing, so I'm feeling like he has something to do with it.
Investigators say foul play is suspected in Pringle's death, but they are not talking about possible suspects in the case as devastated family and friends push for answers.
I love you, and you will never, ever, 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 ever be forgotten. You will never be forgotten. Justice is going to be served, too.
Cherelle's family and friends were devastated by the news. They broke down in tears and hugged each other as they mourned their loss. They also expressed their anger and frustration at the police for not doing enough to find Cherelle sooner. They said they felt like they had to do the police's job for them. They also demanded justice for Cherelle and accused Bruce of killing her.
But we found her.
On Wednesday, December 22nd, the police announced that they had arrested Bruce Mabin in connection with Cherelle's death. They charged him with larceny over $1,200, tampering with evidence, and obstruction of justice. They did not charge him with murder yet, but they said he remained a person of interest in the homicide investigation. On Thursday, December 23rd, Bruce appeared in court for his arraignment. He pleaded not guilty to the charges against him and was ordered held without bail until his next court date on Tuesday, December 28th. As he was led out of the courtroom, Cherelle's family and friends shouted at him, calling him a murderer and a coward. They also chanted, "Justice for Cherelle Pringle," and "We found her."
Justice for Cherelle Pringle. That's what we need to be saying. She's gone before Christmas.
Cherelle's family and friends said they would not rest until Bruce was convicted of killing Cherelle. They said they wanted him to pay for what he did to her and to suffer the same way she did. Bruce Mabin later appeared before a judge for a dangerousness hearing some days later when prosecutors updated the charges against him. He has now been charged with the murder of Cherelle Pringle.
First here at 4:30, a Lynn man is now charged with the murder of a Saugus woman. Prosecutors had charged him with other crimes in relation to her death. The woman had been reported missing by her family.
And now officials say this man is responsible for her murder. 7's Steve Cooper has more.
And I would suggest that any identification today.
Surrounded by court officers, this was supposed to be a dangerousness hearing for Bruce Mabin here in Lynn District Court until the suspect was charged with murder.
Mr. Maben, you're charged with murder in Saugus on 12/19/21.
Maben pleading not guilty to the murder of 40-year-old Sherelle Pringle back on December 19th of last year. Pringle's distraught family was in the courtroom to watch the proceedings.
I got some bodies there. I believe this is the missing female.
It was that same family that found her body in a marsh off Route 107 in Saugus 2 weeks ago, 48 hours after they found her cell phone in a sewer drain in Lynn.
The government moved to detain Mr. Maven as a danger pursuant to 58A, as well as revoke his bail pursuant to 58B. I did talk to Ms. McDougal this morning. I'm not objecting to detention at this point.
44-year-old accused killer was the last person with Pringle before her body was discovered. The couple had been dating. Sources say she was stabbed to death, and the car Maben was last seen in was found torched. The judge ordering Maben held without bail.
On the new matter, you'll be held without bail.
Our deepest condolences to the families of Sherelle. We do hope they get the justice they are hoping for. May Sherelle's memory be a blessing for her family and for all who knew her, and may her life and death be an inspiration and a turning point towards justice and increased protection for domestic abuse survivors. Please stay safe out there and see you guys in the next.
Okay. This one I have so much to say about. I won't even lie. I have a lot to say about this one because, whoo, child, the first thing that the commentator said, and shout out to Twisted Crimes, and everything that I've been saying about all the clips, and they all pretty much coincide, is the jealousy, insecurity, and control. Those are very big things that now we see that is really affecting Black men. Like, they are jealous, they are controlling, and they are extremely insecure. And no, I am not talking about all. I'm talking about those who feel it's okay to abuse and unalive women or anybody, child, whatever it may be. You know, it's really sad. And, you know, it just shows that she was in the relationship because she did not want him to do anything to her children. She feared for her life, but she decided to stay in the relationship because she did not want him to harm her children. That's exactly what the commentator said. Now, you know that that's sad. It's sad that you feel like you have to be stuck in something because of the fact that you're trying to sacrifice your life for the lives of the people that you love unconditionally. You could tell just by the video with him and those men that look like they was 80, that they all think that they still young boys on the street corner or something. And then one of the pictures, the picture that they show with him supposed to be posting her on social media, he throwing up a gang sign. He 44 years old. You 44 years old, you out here throwing up signs? Oh my gosh. Like, that is so horrible. Like, that just shows you that these men, a lot of these men out here, their mentality is stuck at the age of 20 with the type of women they choose, with the type of things they do, with the type of music they continue to listen to that they feel like that influences them. And he wind up getting probably the best thing that ever happened to him, which was this woman right here, Sherelle. And because of that, he was one of them. If I can't have you, nobody will. And her son felt that all along. He knew he wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? anytime a family member or your son, daughter say, "Are you sure about this person?" These are times when we need to start just moving forward. If we've never done that, we should start paying attention to that. And women, don't think that this can't happen to you. It's 1,000,001 of these stories, and they get worse and worse, and it gets more and more. Like there's more and more. So don't ever think that this can't happen to you, because it can. And I just want you all to be safe, all you women, real men out there that protects us. Be safe. Let's protect these children. Let's try to heal our community so that we can come together and make sure that we see a generation of beautiful Black kids in this world, in America, in this country, in our community. Because right now, it's looking ugly for us. In a minute, we're going to be an extinct race. And I think that's all I got. But I can say, in every clip, except one, the police was not on point. The police wasn't on point for Danita because they didn't report it. The police wasn't on point for Sherelle. It took the family to go out there because they were a family. They were a real family, and they were determined to find out what happened to this queen. And then the police come on the backs of them afterwards. They did the job for them. That's why it's so important that we stop depending on other people, especially the government, to assist with anything that got to do with ours. But, that's all I got for this week. And just so you know, This Is Insane will now pretty much probably be coming out on Thursdays instead of Wednesdays. So Thursdays, 2 p.m. Pacific time, we will be coming out. No more Wednesdays. I'm still working on the time. I just got a lot going on right now, so I'm just trying to make sure that I still be consistent, because this is important to me. This is not, I'm just trying to, get monetized or something like that. This is, I passionately want to spread the word of what's going on in the world, the country, the community, and I'm just doing it the hood way. That's all it is. So all my peeps, all my people that actually is listening, that understand me and understand my way of thought, my way of thinking, and my thought process, and is okay with my slang verbiage, and is okay with the way that I'm speaking, continue to stay tuned. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And I'm going to take y'all out with this gentleman, Carlito 810 with Mercy. And I'll see you guys next week. All right, later.
Man, we was on north side with a song of day long, we stayed strong. With the meats to inherit the earth where we belong. The section, Pearson, Dewey, Merle, all the hoods with them G's strong. The land that You want the new J's? When you stand in line while the sands is moving through the hourglass, you better plan your time. Whoa, mercy, mercy me. Oh, things ain't what they used to be. Whoa, mercy, mercy me.
You want to talk about guns? Why is it that there's a gun shop on almost every corner in this community? Why? Tell you why. For the same reason that there's a liquor store on almost every corner in the black community. Why? They want us to kill ourselves. You go out to Beverly Hills, you don't see that.